Pittsburgh, rolling down the eastern seaboard. Got my diesel wound up, and she's rolling like never before. The speed's on ahead, alright. I don't see a cop in sight. 6 days on the road, and I'm gonna make it home tonight. I got my 10-4 gears in a Georgia overdrive. I'm taking little white pills and my eyes are open wide. I just passed a Jimmy and a white, been passing everything in sight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. Well, it seems like a month since I kissed my baby goodbye. Could have a lot of women, but I'm not like some other guys. Could find one to hold me tight, but could never make believe it's alright. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. Is checking on down the line. Well, I'm a little overweight and my logbook's way behind, but nothing bothers me tonight. Can check all the scales alright. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. Well, my rig's a little low, but that don't mean she's slow. There's a flame from a stack and the smoke's a blowing like it's cold. My hometown's coming inside. You think I'm happy, you're right. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight.
Here's some of the chords you can use to play this song. I use a G bar chord on the 3rd, a G7 on the 3rd, a D on the 5th, a C on the 3rd, a C7 on the 3rd, and another C7 on the 5th. Let's take a look at these chords on the guitar. I use a G chord here on the 3rd, a G7 on the 3rd with this optional 2nd string high note that you can add, D on the 5th, C on the 3rd, C7 on the 3rd, and this C7 here on the 5th. Here's the intro. Well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling down the eastern seaboard. Here's the intro played slowly. Well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling. Here's the tablature for the intro. The lines are the strings of the guitar, and the numbers on them are the frets that are played. This intro section contains miniature riffs which will appear later in the song. This song is in a 16-bar blues format, meaning that there's 16 measures of chords that go by, counted out 4 beats each measure. And the chords are of a blues variety of a 1-4-5, meaning you have a 1 chord, so if you're in the key of G, G will be your 1 chord, C will be your 4 chord, and D will be your 5 chord. So right now I'll play through a verse with the most simple chord progression so you can get a feel of the progression, and then I'll show this on a chart, the 16 bars, so you can pick it up. Well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling down the eastern seaboard. I got my diesel wound up and she's running like never before. There's a speed zone ahead, alright. I don't see a cop inside. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. Here's the 16-bar pattern. Each row is a line of a verse, and the numbers on each row are the beats of a measure. The basic strumming pattern during the verses is just bass note and then down, up, bass note, down, up, So it sounds like. Well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling down the eastern seaboard. I got my diesel wound up and she's running like never before. Here's the verse with some riffs and variations you can add. Well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling down the eastern seaboard. Got my diesel wound up and she's a-running like never before. The speed's on ahead, alright. I don't see a cop in sight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. Got my 10 Ford gears in a Georgia hole. The variations on the first line sound like this. Well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling down that eastern seaboard. That first line starts off with the G chord. Well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling, and then it goes to the D chord. Now on the D, I do an alternating bass line. So I hit the D bass note, 5th string, high notes of the chord, and then I hit this 5th fret, 6th string note, where I bend it, and then hit the high notes of the chord again, before I go back to the G again. So it sounds like... So the whole first part is, well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling down the eastern seaboard. And then from there I do the riff that's in the intro. But except it's in reverse order from what appears in the intro. So the first part is riff 2. And then I do riff 1 from the intro. So the whole first line sounds like, well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling down the eastern seaboard. At the end of the first line, you can throw in the low riff from the intro. It sounds like this. Well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling down the eastern seaboard. I got my diesel wound up and she's a run. If you notice what I did there, I substituted this riff in the intro, which was the opening notes of the song, for this riff in the intro. So it sounded like, well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling down the eastern seaboard. I got my diesel wound up and she's a-running like never before. The variations on the second line sound like, I got my diesel wound up and she's a-running like never before. What's happening there is the line starts off with the G chord. Got my diesel wound up and she's running like never before. And then you do this little riff on a D chord. You start off with a D bass note, hit strings 2 and 3, strings 3 and 4, and then take your finger off the 7th fret. So you're just hitting 5th fret, 2nd and 3rd strings, and then replant it on 2nd and 3rd strings to the 7th fret. Bass note again, and then same pattern, but this time you hit the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings twice. So it sounds like... One more time. The second line played slowly sounds like, I got my diesel wound up and she's running like never before. The third line with the variation sounds like, there's a speed zone ahead, alright. I don't see a cop inside. What's happening there is I start off with the C chord. There's a speed zone ahead. And then I turn it to a C7 on the second beat. So it's, there's a speed zone ahead, alright. And then I go to the D. And I play the same riff I play on the second line. Down to a G. I don't see a cop. G7 inside to the C. And then I do this little riff. What that little riff is you start off with the C chord, hit the 3rd string, 2nd string, and then what you do is you release the 5th fret notes of that C chord. So you're playing 3rd fret, 3rd string, then up to the 5th fret on the 3rd string, back down to the 3rd fret, 3rd string, to the 4th string, 5th fret, and then 4th string 3rd fret. So it sounds like. One more time. Before you bring it to the G for the next line. The variations of that 3rd line played slowly sound like, there's a speed zone ahead, alright. I don't see a cop inside. 6 days on the road, I'm gonna make it home tonight. The 4th line, which is the title line of the song, has the same variations as the 1st line of the verse. Sounds like, 6 days on the road, I'm gonna make it home tonight. Got my 10 forward gears in the Chord. There's a little mini solo that happens after the 3rd verse. It sounds like this. ICC is a checking on. Here's that instrumental section played slowly. ICC is checking on. Here's the tablature for the instrumental section.